Hi guys, this is Mathini Ganesh and Sujan Shan. We're here at the Galleria Sales Center. We're going to be doing an interview with Elad Canada as well as PSR Brokerage. We're very excited to be here. Thank you all for watching. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to us at New Release Condo. Thank you. This is Mathini Ganesh. I'm here with Sujan as well as Mr. Dor from Elad Canada, Vice President of Sales and Marketing, as well as Ryan, President of PSR Brokerage, Sales and Marketing as well. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for taking your time to be here in fact, and to share your passion and vision about how the truly masterpiece of Galleria on the Park coming into place. So the first, instead of usually always ask developer behind the scene, why to choose this location and in terms of amenities. So we will focus on the true visionary behind and how you want to transform this masterpiece in 5 years or 10 years from time. It's always in real estate. It's not about investing now and flipping it for next year or two. It's always looking forward in decades from time. So can you please explain about your passion and how you want to,
So before actually Dror gets into the vision and the passion, I want to say something just from someone who's been part of the process for a few years now, working closely with Elad as they've worked through the vision. One of the most important things when you're building a master plan community is have a champion behind it. Have someone that's really committed to the vision and to the execution of the vision, because we all know that having the vision is one thing, but being able to execute it is completely another. It's been a privilege from my perspective to work so closely with the Elad team and see the level of commitment that they have to bringing their vision to life. Dror will share more about the vision, but I wanted to just say that having someone to oversee it who's really committed to that final result is critical to creating a master plan community.
Thanks, Ryan. So we're asking about master plan community now. Our modus operandi and how we go about things. In Elad Canada, we focus on master plan communities. We believe that exactly to what you said, investing in real estate is a long-term relationship, and you cannot look at it as a short view because you're likely not going to be very successful. When we identify a neighborhood or pocket in the city that can kind of accept that scale of development, that's part of the location attributes that we're looking for in our master plan community. This neighborhood is a very rich historical neighborhood. There's a lot of amazing things in this neighborhood from a location perspective. People that live here, food, color, art, physical attributes, all of those things are in here. And when we build a master plan community, we don't try to just come in and change everything. The idea is to embellish what's existing and to bring it into the 21st century. Galleria is a 20-acre master plan. It's gonna be a multi-phase development. We're going to have residential units close to 300,000 square feet of retail, 8-acre park, 100,000 square feet of community center. Essentially all the everyday necessities you would want to have within a short walking distance. Our idea that as master plan developers, it allows us to invest in the community far beyond a single tower. And that by itself helps us change the area in a meaningful way. So that's the idea, long-term investment in the neighborhood and in the community we're building.
Amazing. And also, nowadays, more than ever, the wellness center is pretty much like we always say, fitness center or amenities, but kind of an ecosystem in this building. The massive amount of public space what you guys are putting in, this is really a added value for it. Either it can be an end user or even for an investor point of view in years to come.
Definitely. I'm actually happy you brought it up because a lot of the typical buyers or their agents would ask us, how many square feet of amenities are there in this building? And to us, if you're asking that from us, you've kind of missed the mark, because Of course, the building has an incredible, set of amenities that are focused around well-being and lifestyle. There's 17,000 square feet of amenities in the building, but the real answer is there's about 800,000 square feet of amenities because you have 300,000 square feet of retail right at the bottom of your building. You have a 360,000 square foot park literally outside of your front door, and you have almost 100,000 square foot community center at the end of that park. So, it's not the typical offering where you have, like a typical, set of amenities. You have so much more at the base of your building than you could ever get in the building on its own.
So it's truly a masterpiece, and it's about from 5 years to 10-year plan and the growth of how the community is going to absorb and how everyone can take advantage of it. So now coming back to the third phase, which is Galleria III. Shall we talk about more incentives and how the project is going to be, helpful for investors or end users? And
yeah, definitely we could talk about that. The main point to consider is that you're buying into a master plan community, so it's not a standalone building. And that means that there's still a lot of upside because there's tens of millions of dollars being invested by both public and private bodies into infrastructure. Right? There's so much going on in this neighborhood because it's evolving and we're just at the start. Before Elad actually even submitted the application to the city, they engaged the community in over 40 different instances to make sure that they're creating something that the community as a whole embraces, which is important because you want the community to thrive across the board. From an investment perspective, it's one of those rare times where your objective and the developer's objectives are actually completely aligned. The developers want to see the property's values grow because they still have to sell another 2,500 units in this community. Your buyers want to see prices grow because they've invested in a unit in the building. So it's differently than a standalone building. When the developer sells out, they don't really pay much attention into how values in the building hold over time. When you're buying in a master plan community, you really have a true alignment with the developer, and the developer has still control on a lot of the inventory, so they keep pushing prices up, and your buyers are the ones that benefit from it. So from an investment perspective, it's a really strong case. Obviously, the regentrification of the area makes a strong case for real estate values. And finally, we are very much in tune with what's going on in the market, and we're at the front line of the market having conversations with agents that do a lot of business like you to get your feedback and to get your feel for the heartbeat of the market. And we know that things like deposit structures are important. Having a strong value proposition up front is important. We've taken all of these different factors into consideration, and I think that when we launch, which will be in less than 3 weeks from the time we're recording this message, when we launch, your buyers will be able to look at the offering and very quickly put one and one together and realize this is something that makes a lot of sense for us.
Amazing. In terms of clients, or I would say the purchasers, when you go back in Tower 1 and 2, what type of clientele is who are interested in mostly? Is it going to be end user clients who's really looking forward in 10 years from now? It's more like a community, or like also investors who are really considering this is a potential right time to buy because this is more like a masterpiece community for more than 2,000 or 3,000 units just to be built, and this is the best time to get entered. It's more like an IPO. Why don't I buy it right now rather than...
When we design a master plan community, it allows us to provide a variety, a wide range of unit types. And that contributes to in our experience, to a healthy community. So we have small units and large units, units for end users, units for investors. Before Ryan tells you who bought in the first two phases, the units themselves direct the buyers. And we've seen tremendous interest both from the community, local community, as well as the city at large. And we think that we have a very healthy range of buyers here. Right, maybe you can add to specifics.
When you're talking about a master plan community, Sujan, you have to realize there is now a shift in buyers' minds, especially now because this is a time that many of us have never faced before in our lifetimes. buyers are experiencing a shift in their mindset and what they're looking for when they're buying real estate, right? We're finding that a lot of buyer demographics now, different layers, love the idea of a master plan community because it's got all of these essential elements for living, for working, for their lifestyle, for basic goods and services. Everything is in one central spot.
It's like live and work, and this is more like an ecosystem. So you just get off the building, you have everything from retail to shopping to even the transportation.
Right. It offers you a level of convenience that you don't get in a standalone building, right? Because imagine you wake up in the morning, you go downstairs, you want to hop on the bus or on the subway, both are, right by the community. You want to go to work, you can stop at the cafe downstairs, pick up a coffee. On your way home from work, you could stop at the grocery store, do your, grocery shop, drop your dry cleaners off, have dinner, breakfast, lunch in a restaurant. Buyers love that, right? Because they don't have to travel for that. It's really right in their ecosystem, as you said, which I actually love that term. So we're seeing a lot of end users from all types. We're seeing a lot of empty nesters, downsizers, we're seeing young professionals, we're seeing young families, we're seeing singles, all coming into this community. And we're also seeing a lot of investors with real foresight saying, okay, this is a really special opportunity because this is really end users' product. And as an investor, I want to invest always in a community that attracts end users, because that's when you're seeing and you're realizing the highest rental rates and the highest returns on your investments, because at any given time, there isn't much on the market because the community is generally inhibited with end users.
Speaking of investors, like the time of recording, this is September 25th. If you look at the stock market even, we always compare it because of investors. They always ask the question, is it the best time to invest in stocks or real estate? Why real estate, right? The almost 2 trillion company, the largest by market share, Apple stock, August, it went 40%, and in September it dropped 20%. So in terms of investing in real estate, this is tangible. You feel it, you own it, and you own it forever, unless as long as you take care of the mortgage and proper people who can maintain it properly.
And when you buy pre-construction, you also have time on your side, because you have 4 years.
Absolutely.
And you have the power of leverage, which unless you're a very, very sophisticated high net worth investor, you don't have that ability in the stock market. I remember I personally used to invest in the stock market. I owned BlackBerry stock. At its peak, it was $115 with a crazy market share. And then Apple came up with this thing, and it changed, it changed the world really. But my stock went from $115 to like $6 in what seemed like, overnight. Obviously, it was longer than that, but it seemed really quickly. And that doesn't happen with real estate. Real estate over time always wins, always produces a lot of great value, and it's probably the best way for families to really take their net worth to the next level, because there's very little risk and a lot of upside.
And especially nowadays is the leverage and the time. Investors always worry about the market. Yes, the market is slow right now, but for how long? Maybe 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year, let's say even 2 years. Most of the investment when you are investing in pre-construction is going to take at least 4 years. And developers are much smarter too. Sometimes the project may delay probably a year, so it's a good thing because it's 5 years time. When the project is ready, pretty much we get through all these, the negative issues about what we are going through, what we are facing. And at the time, the market is already up, building is ready, and it's a sustainable ecosystem. And people who want to buy that time, they don't have the time because they want to move in ready. And so that's why they pay the premium. So people who invested thinking forward what in 5 years will be or in 10 years, this is the opportunity to get in right now. And what you guys are doing is an amazing job. I mean, it's great.
Suzanne, as developers, we're all about real estate investment and risk, right? And when we're building a community like this, it's 8 buildings. The amount of investment from our side, the amount of time from our side. Obviously, we have done a lot of due diligence in this area. We believe in this area, we believe in this city, in this country. So it's not one building, okay, 3 to 4 years, in and out, you're done. we need to do everything right. Every step of the way has to be perfect for us to be able to develop 8 buildings and to sit with you 8 times and talk about it and offer something for your clients. After this one, there's 5 more, absolutely.
I think just to add to that, a lot of investors' questions are always about reputation and credibility of the developer, right? And for us, we're very excited to be partnered with Elad Canada. I think Ryan has given even the past history, just working with Elad. I think that's one of the most important things with your history, and credibility is just amazing. So
Yeah,
we're happy to be here.
That goes way long,
Yeah.
and because the credibility of the developer and the promise what they have done and delivering on time, this is really important, because sometimes it's what is happening in the market, because investors, especially end users, sometimes worry, is the development is going to be happening, is it approved, is zoning ready when they're starting construction? Because investors, they don't care, because they would rather wait extra year because of the appreciation, but sometimes the end users, they always worry about the timing. And you guys have proven in the past, and if there's anyone who even worrying about what they have done in the past, especially in the master community, Emerald City is to see it, the sustainability and how people have invested and made money. And also,
So John, the first phase that we sold last year, we broke ground this summer, less than 1 year after sales started. So we're already under construction for the first 2 buildings, plus the community center. That's all coming up. That's again a vote of confidence for us in this development. We are delivering on what we promised the people we sold to when we launched the first tower, and we're going to do the same thing time over time. That's exactly the point. Delivery is really important in this industry, especially in today's time, and we stand behind it.
No, I mean, I think Dror covered it pretty well. The fact that construction has already started less than 1 year after sales on the first two phases, and the community center, which, by the way, will be delivered and operational before any of the Galleria on the Park residents will move in, which is huge, because typically that happens at the end. The community center comes at the end. Here it comes before any of the condos. I think that was important to note. And just a quick note about your investors who are saying, is this really the best time to invest? Because we're, in the middle of this really odd period. Obviously, it's not something that none of us have really lived through before. But real estate is a long-term buy. And Toronto, at its core, still is Canada's center, Canada's economic capital, Canada's capital as far as the quality of human capital for employees. Like a lot of the immigrants that come to Canada, end up in Toronto in the GTA. 99 million Canadians live within a 2-hour drive from Toronto. 1/4 of the Canadian community. 5 out of the 6 largest banks are headquarters in Canada. 75% of the foreign banks are headquartered in Canada. 65% of the pension funds are headquartered in Toronto.
even more than 30% of the GDP of the entire country, and we live in a G7, country.
Exactly. So when you're thinking about buying real estate in Toronto, don't think about this period in time specifically. You really have to believe in Toronto, as the developers have, because they're taking on this massive community. And in the long term, I think you're going to be very surprised as an investor. You're going to be very surprised and pleased with the end result. So if you're contemplating, I would definitely say just believe in Toronto, because the future is bright.
We had to be optimistic, and I'm a believer on that. And pretty much 90% of my investment, what I have earned, invested in the real estate portfolio. And hey, I mean, I'm a really strong believer, especially in Toronto. We live in a G7 country, the world-class hospital, world-class healthcare system, world-class education. And what else we want? This is one of the best of the best. And not to forget, in terms of location, within 15 to 20 minutes radius, like either from from parks to UFT to campus to anywhere. Like we are in the center of the core, and within 15 minutes driving distance is like literally, you could commute within under 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is a downtown Toronto site, 5 kilometers away from the financial district. Like we're right there.
So choosing this, the masterpiece of this location is amazing. Like High Park, like 15 minutes. UFT, 15 minutes.
And I think Geary Avenue is going to elevate Dupont West to another level, just like how King West was in the olden days versus now, you know, absolutely.
You know, the largest George Brown campus is literally 5 minutes away from us. It's really a strategic location with a lot of potential.
Thank you for your time, and it's a pleasure meeting again, and hopefully all my investors and end users should be able to take advantage of it, especially time and leverage. And you guys have the time because there's 4 years to build, so you don't have to put the lump sum money, and the leverage is, you know, because instead of used to be 20%, 25%, now you guys can take advantage of 15% spread over 18 months or 2 years. And now more than ever, the time is really important to invest it right now, because this is the most advantage of investment opportunity compared to what is in the market. Especially this is one of a kind masterpiece, and hopefully we all take advantage. And you know, looking forward to work with you guys, and reach out us if you guys have any questions. And we are so happy about meeting you, me, myself, and Madani. Thank Ryan, and we go a long way back.
Long way.
Taking
We got our real estate license together. Got a real. You know what, Sujan, Madani, I want to say one thing to your investors before we conclude this, because I think it's really important to note we've done business in the past successfully, and Sujan and I actually got our real estate license together in like 2004. You know? I can't believe how long it's been. But the one thing that I want your buyers to really understand is something that happens often, especially we've seen it in the first and second phase amongst buyers, is that buyers really wanted to buy a unit and they couldn't end up with the unit that they wanted, or
Yes,
any unit at
that's
all.
always an issue.
That's always an issue, right? And it probably will continue to be a challenge in a sought-after community like Galleria. But there is a way to try to mitigate and increase your probability of success in getting a unit in the project. I think it's down to communication. A lot of buyers tell their agents after they see the hype, after they see the lineups, after they see all these things, then they call you and they say, Sujan, I want a unit. And by then, we're already either sold out or there's nothing left. I really want to challenge your buyers to take a proactive approach here. If you're interested in what we talked about, if you're interested in learning more about Galleria on the Park, or you want to buy, communicate that to you or to Methany, communicate that to you early. When you communicate your level of interest early, then you could take that and communicate that to us. And then we know, okay, they have buyers for, you know, this price point or these types of units. And it's easier for us to put the puzzle together that way and to try to accommodate your buyers.
That's a smart idea in terms of proactive rather than reactive,
Yeah.
because then they say, because then otherwise it's a momentum driven.
Right. When you're seeing the lineups as a buyer, when you're seeing the lineups, you're probably too late. Right now, where we still, you know, Methany and Sujan can call us and tell us like, this is what we need, we could figure it out and do our best to accommodate. So as a buyer, if you're listening or watching, please take a moment, proactively reach out to Sujan, to Methany, and communicate your level of interest to them so they can work with you together early on.
Thank you.
That's a great point. Thank you for that, Ryan.
Thank
It's
you.
always that issue coming up. So thank you guys. Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
being here,
Having
for
us,
your
it's
time.
great.
We really appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you guys, not on this,
Absolutely.
but a lot more projects together. So
See you soon.
thank you.